Hi, welcome to Funded. I'm Caitlin Finney, and this is a Clearinghouse CDFI podcast, here to give you a glimpse into the community development work Clearinghouse CDFI is doing around the country. Listeners can expect to tune into conversations discussing what a CDFI is, how getting funded by a CDFI works, community impact stories, and how we are all working towards building better communities together.
Welcome, one and all. Season's greetings, happy holidays, and the warmest welcome from all of us here at Clearinghouse CDFI. I'm your host, Caitlin Finney, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be celebrating this holiday episode with you. The holiday season can be so full of hustle and bustle that sometimes we forget to stop and remember the why and the reason behind what we're doing and what we're celebrating. And our why here at Clearinghouse CDFI and on Funded is to bring resources to the communities that need it most. In today's episode of Funded, I wanted to take a moment to catch up with the Clearinghouse CDFI staff and get their takes on why their purpose is so important to them. Today, we'll be taking a stroll down memory lane and reminiscing on some of the feel-good moments that stick out in our staff members' mind during their tenure here at Clearinghouse CDFI. We pulled them to get their memories in their own words, and I'd like to share this with you today. We asked our staff a few different questions, but we were trying to gauge where their passion really lies for community development work. We asked them questions like, what's your favorite memory related to working with Clearinghouse CDFI? Can you recall a particularly impactful borrower or community member interaction that you've had? And what drives your passion for community development? We wanted to get to the root of why they do what they do. These are just a small sample of the responses that we got from staff, so I'm excited to share with you the best anecdotes and experiences that we've collected so far, and hopefully it can put you into the holiday spirit and give you a reminder about maybe what your purpose or your why is for this holiday season. So, although it looks like it's just me today, we're actually joined by our staff as a whole. So join me and the rest of Clearinghouse CDFI staff in kicking off the holiday season. Grab a cup of coffee, grab your holiday treat, and I'm going to share with you some of the testimonies from our staff. Hopefully it could help put you into the holiday spirit. Obviously, some staff members have more direct interactions with borrowers. Here is one of my favorites. This one comes from our Chief Credit Officer, Christy Ollendorf. Christy was one of the earliest employees that Clearinghouse had. So she's had a lot of tenure with the company, and she's seen us start small and grow into what we are today. We asked Christy, can you recall a particularly impactful borrower interaction or community member interaction? How did this experience influence your view of community development? Here's what she had to say. With 25 years of lending, it's hard to pick just one, but I'll never forget meeting with a church elder after we funded their construction loan, as he literally cried with gratitude. We believed in them enough to fund their dream. I also learned along the way that education is also a vital part of community development, and saying no sometimes is the right answer. I made a nun cry, but I spent the entire morning educating her about her books and what she needed to do to get her financials in order to get a loan. Several years later, I ran into her at an event, and she gave me a big hug of thanks for being the only person to tell her the truth, and that enabled her to finally turn her mission into reality. Christy followed up with what kind of takeaways that interaction gave with her, and here's what she had to say. Most CDFIs are small, so you can work directly with the decision makers. We are small-knit, tight communities that can work with each other and give great service to a borrower. CDFIs have much more flexibility in lending guidelines than banks do, and that's what makes us tick as an industry. We also asked Christy what your favorite memory was related to working with or being involved in the Clearinghouse CDFI loan. Are there any specific moments that stood out to her? Here's what she had to say. My first memory, on something like day 7 of working for Clearinghouse, was packing up the office on the 2nd floor to the 4th floor. It was all hands on deck. It was a great bonding experience with people who were also in the thick of it, moving files and cabinets. I knew then that this was the company that rolled up their sleeves to get the work done. My kind of company. One of her other favorite memories was being an active participant in the growth of the company from its first $50,000 loan to a local nonprofit Fast forwarding 26 years later, reaching almost $200 million in lending in one single year. Watching not only our company's growth, but our people who have grown in responsibility and confidence as well. We are now a large CDFI, but we will still have that small company feel, which I hope we never lose. I wanted to share these testimonies from Christy because I think it does a great job of highlighting how what we do is focused on the passion that we have for helping the community, even when we can't outright fund alone. We have the means and the goal to be flexible to make funding happen for our borrowers, but not at the financial risk that it might cause them in the future. Although Christy couldn't help the nun in that given moment with funding, she was able to provide education and set her up on a track that would be most beneficial for her in the long run. Christy's testimony also speaks to the roll-up-your-sleeves attitude that our staff has. Christy's comment about most CDFIs being small and a tight-knit community are true. And most of the time, you do have the ability to talk to the direct decision makers. That kind of access is part of the important service that we can provide to the communities that we're trying to help. Okay, I love this next submission. This one comes from Business Development Officer Brian Sagert. Brian writes, I love my job. I love my team. I wake up looking forward to interacting with my Clearinghouse family and contributing to accomplishing sustainable and impactful outcomes that enhance the lives and communities that we serve. My first interaction with Clearinghouse CDFI was around 2009-ish, give or take a year or two. It was a job interview for a business development officer. Clearinghouse was establishing an office in Las Vegas and seeking a community development lender type person, and I was like, I definitely have the community development part down, but not so much the lending stuff. The interview went well, I thought, but I didn't get the job. I was really intrigued by Clearinghouse CDFI as I could really sense the passion for those I spoke with, as it was sincere and inspiring. I had no hard feelings about not being selected for the position. In fact, I took the CEO, CIO, and the individual that was hired out to lunch. I paid, if I recall correctly. Over the years, I maintained my connections with a couple of Clearinghouse CDFI folks. Whether by a simple call or email every now and then, to meeting up at a conference, to shooting the breeze on the weekends, a relationship was built, one with a mutual respect for our common passion to better our community. The years passed by, and it was now December of 2019. I had just ended a 5-month summer vacation, and I was thinking of what to do next, especially career-wise, as endless summers are costly. I was doing some consulting and my civic duties as a member of the State of Nevada Board of Finance, but I didn't feel the passion or fire in my belly for those things. I wanted to make a difference. My first thought was starting my own community development venture. I just couldn't get it off the ground, primarily due to the lack of equity needed. Then I thought, maybe I'll create a CDFI that provides venture capital. I mean, I wasn't going to try to compete with Clearinghouse CDFI, but I considered it as a project. On Thursday, 1 week before Christmas, I was chatting with a mentor who was a state official, and I mentioned the idea of creating VC CDFI. My mentor, Brian, said, if I could give you a CDFI for Christmas, I would, as it's your calling. The next Friday, I received a call from one of the Clearinghouse CDFI leaders, and they stated that a position was open in Nevada, and that I was the first candidate they thought of for the position. Our conversations were a blend of catching up personally and a professional interview on the spot. We ended the call with a follow-up interview with the CEO. I believe it was Monday afternoon I received a call from the CEO and CCO for the interview. Again, the conversation was both personal and professional. We ended the call with a mutual agreement, Clearinghouse wanting me to join the team, one where I wanted to join the team and be a part of the Clearinghouse CDFI mission. I even stated to them both that my initial plan was never to go back into the corporate sector, but I felt Clearinghouse CDFI is more than just a job. It's a purpose, and nearly 4 years later, I still wake up with a passionate fire in my belly, and I look forward to what the day can bring. Brian leaves us with 3 morals of his story. 1. Clearinghouse CDFI is more than just a company. It's a movement to better lives, including mine. True relationships fostered, grown, and sustained over time create impactful outcomes. Lastly, in a figuratively speaking manner, Brian did get the CDFI that he wanted for Christmas. He writes, I'm honored to be a member of the Clearinghouse CDFI family and to work beside a team of passionate individuals, where together we strive to engage in and accomplish complex initiatives, improve the lives and communities of the people that we serve. Wow. I think that's a testament to the kind of relationships that we foster at Clearinghouse, not just with our employees and our counterparts, but with our borrowers as well. We try to know them as people, look at them as a whole person, especially when trying to look at the funding of their loan or their financing, the same way that the leaders here at Clearinghouse CDFI treated Brian over those almost 10 years before he was hired. It's the blend of knowledge, passion, and compassion that I think makes this company so successful. We also asked Brian, can you recall a particularly impactful interaction with a borrower community member? Here is how he responded. The one experience I recall was my first loan I originated with Clearinghouse. This loan was to finance the acquisition of a 6-plex multi-family property. The borrower was a really new real estate investor, and he wanted to create affordable housing. This $675,000 loan was the start to this borrower achieving their goal. This is impactful to me as it demonstrates Clearinghouse CDFI's mission to create impact around the country. It's not about the size of the loan. It's not about how much money we can make. It's about the impact. Impact for the borrower by providing them with a chance to pursue their dreams. Impact for the low-income individuals by creating affordable housing. Impact for the community by investing in and revitalizing a property. Impact for Clearinghouse CDFI to display our commitment to mission. Brian closes out his submission with what drives him and his passion for community development. Obviously, we can tell that Brian has a passion for community development, but this is what he has to say. To me, it's about loving all people and helping to better their lives. It's the smile and thank you when they walk into their new home. It's the transforming of a distressed property into a new school. It's being flexible and willing to partner on dreams that other financial institutions may have passed on, which revive the community fabric and inspires and empowers change. Well said, Brian. Okay, here's another submission from our marketing director, Alana Smith. There are a million wonderful memories from my time with Clearinghouse CDFI. I've had a good many years to accrue them. My favorite times are simply working with our team, firing on all cylinders because we're so busy, yet able to manage to come together and problem solve, to be creative together, sharing setbacks and celebrating wins. And that's it, really. My favorite memory. To witness the growth of this company over so many years, seeing our team grow along with the number of people we're able to help and the number of communities we're able to serve. It is deeply gratifying. Alana wanted to share one of her impactful interactions with the borrower and how that experience shaped or influenced her passion for community development. One year, we held our annual shareholders meeting at Monarch School in San Diego, which is a school for unhoused children and one of our borrowers. We were honored to have an actual student of Monarch speak at the meeting. Now, all of us at Clearinghouse know the loans we provide for the borrowers like Monarch affect positive change in our communities. We know the numbers. We work every day to ensure that the impact is part of every loan. But to hear that at the meeting directly from this student, how her life was transformed thanks to the services that Monarch provides, made possible by a loan from Clearinghouse, that was profound. I remember it every time we're busy, when things get chaotic or stressful, the why of it all. We are here to help people. We wield the power to genuinely change lives. I am humbled by the enormity of that and grateful every day to help advance such a mission. Alana goes on and elaborates on how that impacted her purpose, how that impacted the passion that she has for community development. She says, I am fortunate to be a part of a department charged with sharing our story and our borrower stories with the world. We get to know the people behind our loans and the communities that they serve. As such, it's never lost on me just how much one of our loans can mean. It can change their lives and position them for success. But beyond that, the ripple effect of positive change, the positive impacts in communities that our borrowers serve. She says that the potential to affect such powerful change, such exponential good, is powerful motivation. I thought one of Alana's interesting points about what key takeaways she wished people knew about Clearinghouse CDFI or the CDFI industry in general are that we are aimed to position our borrowers into long-term success because their success is our success. I think that comment speaks to the compassion aspect of what we have to embody as a community development institution. Michelle Taylor, Director of Loan Servicing, also had kind words to say about her memories of Monarch. One of the things she wanted to note was how the Monarch School, a project in San Diego for homeless children, had a thrift store as part of the school where they were also able to feed the kids breakfast and lunch. One of the things she wanted to note was how heavily sometimes borrowers of ours rely on the volunteer work that comes to their door. This is what she had to say. Amazed at how many volunteers our borrowers have in order to run a business. This is a gift and can sometimes hurt the business due to the fact that the volunteers aren't properly trained but want to help. Our customer calls can take 2 times as long. Michelle reiterated that we don't pick the projects based on the revenue that it can make, but they're selected based on the impact to the community. And Monarch had severe impact, as we can tell. So that's a great one to share. We had similar comments from internship director Susan Montoya. Susan says that some of her favorite memories are centered around our annual meetings because that's where we get to showcase a lot of our borrower stories, and that's where the heartfelt interactions really come out. She writes about going back to the early shareholders meetings. However, from last year, we held the meeting at a school, and a young boy who attended the school came up to her afterwards saying he was very impressed with the opportunities that Be Bolder and the internship program provided and asked how he could become an intern himself. He was so mature and brave to approach an adult and make intelligent comments. Susan goes on to talk about her passion for community development into further detail. This is what she had to say. I worked in community development for over 30 years and in many different capacities. People are truly grateful and appreciative of how any assistance they receive, and it doesn't have to be a grand gesture, can make a difference. Kindness and compassion for others never gets old. Having our Be Bolder interns express thanks and appreciation for the opportunity and knowledge and the scholarships they receive is always rewarding and humbling. It's just one of the numerous ways she is reminded why she's committed to this line of work. We got another great response from Annalisa Wells. She is part of our employee relations at Clearinghouse. She shared a little anecdote about working with Clearinghouse CDFI and why it's important to her. She says, I think what has really driven me to continue growing in who we are and what we do is seeing how much everyone's faces lights up and contributing. We work so hard to empower people to embrace their own communities, and seeing everyone flourish and be involved in a greater good lights them up and makes them feel like they're really belonging to a family. So, after running through those testimonies and responses from our staff, I think there's a few clear through lines. CDFI industry and Clearinghouse CDFI in general are more than just about lending. It's about helping. Much of the purpose behind what we do and the satisfaction that we get from the kind of work that we do is from the help that we're able to provide people. And it's the most gratifying part about being a community development lender. We asked our staff members to share these stories in hopes that it would rekindle the fire in the belly that Brian was talking about earlier. Hearing why they're so passionate about what they do is a great reminder this holiday season. So, while you are in the thick of your holiday season, maybe worried about presents, family coming over, making sure that everything runs smoothly, hopefully you could take a step back and remember your why. And for us at Clearinghouse CDFI and us at Funded, it's our borrowers. Having the ability to help where we're needed is our purpose. Hope that you enjoyed those testimonies from our staff members. I know that it sprinkled a little holiday magic on the end of my week. Whatever you may be celebrating this holiday season, we are sending you the warmest wishes from all of us here at Clearinghouse CDFI. Thanks for joining me on this 8th episode of Funded, and we will see you in the new year. Bye!